Hello and welcome to A Russell Reads. Today we have Boy of Blood, which is book 2 in the Girl of Glass series by me. Alright, let's jump on in with our blurb here. After Nightland's vicious attack on the domes, the safety and perfection of the world within the glass has been contaminated. Desperate to rebuild, outsiders were allowed into the domes to help, breaking the cardinal rule. Outsiders and domers must always be separated. But the city is in shambles, crumbling into chaos without the vampires of Nightland to keep order, and one name is carried on the wind: Nola. Clinging to Jeremy, Nola struggles to find a way to exist in the domes, turning her back on all she learned in the city. But when the outsiders bring the dark secrets of the domes to light, the line between survival and murder blurs against the specter of a dying city. Can Nola follow the dark path laid out by the domes? Will the dangers of the night become her new sanctuary? And we do have an excerpt. It was kind of hard because with book 2 in a series, you sort of have to avoid spoilers, because what if people haven't read book 1 first yet and then they watch the video and then so anyway, this is not from the beginning of the book because that would have been massive amounts of spoilers. Shockingly, picking a bit from the middle, fewer spoilers. All right, here we go. Nola shudders as she took a step that carried her from the road onto the bridge. The metal beneath her clanged with every step. The noise of the guards' heavy boots shook the air and rattled her lung like a vicious tolling bell, counting the steps she had to take before she reached the middle of the bridge. A line of people approached from the other side, holding torches and lights high in the air. They didn't have any weapons Nola could see, but if they were wolves or vampires, they wouldn't need guns to kill the guards. Or Nola. Finally, Captain Ridgway held up a hand and the guard stopped as one. The silence rang louder in Nola's ears than the clanging of the bridge had. The group from the city stopped 50 feet away. There were nearly 20 of them in a tight pack, all tense, ready to fight or run. She hoped they would choose run. "We were told we could speak to Nola Kent," the man at the front of the pack called from across the gap. The man was tall with sinewy muscles. His torn clothes hung loosely on his frame. Even in the chill night air, the man wore short sleeves and seemed unbothered by the cold. In the dim light, Nola could barely make out the reddish hue of the man's eyes. A werewolf. Shaking, Nola stepped forward, using every ounce of willpower she possessed to move toward the wolves. She was speaking too softly, they would never be able to hear. "I'm Nola Kent," she shouted. The man leaned forward, and Nola had the terrible feeling he was trying to catch her scent. "Allery," the man barked, and a woman stepped forward. Even in the darkness, Nola recognized the woman. She was the outsider who had started the fight in the Amber Dome that morning. "Is it her?" the man asked Allery. Looking terrified of standing so close to the man, Allery took a step sideways, squinting at Nola. "That's her," Allery said. "That's Nola Kent." The man smiled. "I didn't think they would actually let the little bird out of her cage to play at night." "Well, I'm here." Nola took a step forward. A hand reached out and grabbed her wrist, stopping her before she could step in front of Captain Ridgway. She knew it was Jeremy without looking, the way his pinky draped over her palm. He didn't want her to step away from him. She stepped to the side, closer to Jeremy, and where she could properly see the pack in front of her. "What do you want from me?" The man threw his head back and laughed. "You are better than I hoped you would be, you wonderful little butterfly." The pack behind him began to laugh, and the sound grew like a wave, which lapped back to the horde on the far side of the bridge, who began cheering and jeering. "I said, what do you want?" Nola shouted, her fear dissipating in her anger. "What do we want?" the man repeated. "What do you think I want, little butterfly?" "How would I know?" she snapped. "I don't even know who you are." "Lucifer, at your service," the man bowed deeply. "I don't believe you," Nola said. "You know my name, why can't I know yours?" "Lucifer is what I am," he smiled. "A fallen angel who brings darkness to all. What is a name meant to be if not a description of what we are? Fine, Lucifer." She spat the name. "What do you want from me?" She needed to get off the bridge and back home. Being trapped underground in the bunker was better than being on the bridge with Lucifer and his wolves staring at her. "We want what all of us want." Lucifer raised both hands in the air, inciting cheers from the people behind him. He tipped his head to the side and sneered, looking like a rabid wolf that wanted nothing more than to bite. "We want food," Lucifer growled. We want medicine. We want our fair share of the riches you've got in the domes. We don't have riches. Nola laughed loudly, though her heart still fought to burst out of her chest. I don't know why you think we do. We don't want gold and jewels, Butterfly. We want food, and I know you have that. Lucifer grabbed Allery under one arm, lifting her off her feet. Allery here told us about your food. Rows and rows of food just waiting to be eaten. Isn't that right, Allery? Yes, Allery whimpered. I saw it. Worked in just one of the domes, and there was more food there than I've ever seen. Thank you, Allery. Lucifer let go of Allery's arm, and she dropped to the ground, where she lay shaking, not even trying to stand back up. You have food. You are hoarding food and watching the city starve. We always thought it, but now thanks to Allery. He kicked her in the stomach, and with a cry of pain, Allery rolled to face the sky. Well, now we know that you have stores of food, that you filthy domers in your glass castle high on the hill just like watching the rest of us starve. Well, we say enough. Lucifer punched the air, and another cheer soared from this far side of the bridge. So tonight, we eat, Lucifer shouted, baring his teeth, which shone white in the moonlight. The only question is, do we eat your food, or you? And that has been our reading from Boy of Blood. Thank you so much for joining us.